So welcome to the webinar. This is Jeff at Big Hairy Dog, and this is about sales orders in RPro version 9. Here's our agenda. I just got it in Word here so we can kind of flip back and forth when we want to see it. I am pretty much open to questions all the time. I think that if we're not communicating, we're not doing our job. And I can unmute anybody who wants to be unmuted, but I noticed nobody's really connected on the phone, so I'm assuming you don't want your microphone turned on live. But I can fire it up if you want me to, just let me know. And of course, there's a chat. Feel free to use the chat on the sidebar. I try to keep an eye on the chat all the time. If you have questions, please ask them. All right, that being said, I guess we dive into the webinar. Let me know if you have trouble seeing it. I can change things around if I need to, but okay, so creating sales orders, sales order types. So let's go play with RPro. All right, so my menu is a little different. Just to FYI, if you're using any kind of a default menu in RPro, and mine's pretty heavily edited, you might have a sales button on your main menu that would normally have a drop-down menu where sales orders would be, right? You go to receipts and sales orders so much, I just put them on the top bar, and I don't mess with the drop-down menu usually. All right, so if I go to sales orders and I click new, and I have to apologize, this version of RPro is a little bit older, but this particular function hasn't changed, and I didn't feel like firing up a new virtual machine, so there you go, right? So I clicked new, and it comes up and it asks me here what kind of sales order I want to make, right? So customer order, special order, layaway, right? These three types right here are the primary sales order modes, shall we say. The store registry and the company registry are a little bit different. They don't get a bill to, and they don't commit merchandise, right? With a registry like a wedding registry, we know who the recipient is, we know who the ship to is, but we don't know who's buying it yet. So they're a little different. They're a little odd in that respect. I mean, they're good for registries. They're great for that, but they're not good for like special orders or anything like that. Okay, so the customer order, the special order, and the layaway functionally are the same in version 9. There is really no difference there, right? So they can be renamed, and that's a different conversation having to do with what's called the translator, but I have made layaways into work orders, for instance. You can relabel the menus, you can relabel the fields, right? So what we're really dealing with is there's three basic sales orders there. And the reason there are three is so that we can report on different aspects of orders. Like I wouldn't mix a special order with a work order or a layaway for that matter, right? They're different. So that's why I have three. Okay, so if we click on customer order, right, it gives us a new blank order. And of course, my screen has been heavily modified. I start my screen on the top, and I create this little box called required info so that basically my cursor can move through this one box and drop right into items. That's my goal anyway, to streamline the process as much as possible. And I think that with RPro version 9 particularly, you have to modify the screens to make it match your culture as much as possible to streamline the whole process and make it easy for point of sale. That being said, we're on the customer lookup field. We have to get a customer. Now, I can either look up a customer or I can add a customer. If I look up a customer, I can type whatever my lookup values are in preferences. I just type my last name, and it wants to know if I want to change the tax area. I'm going to say no. So clearly, my record had a default tax area on it from testing in the past, I'm sure, on something. So it fills in this little box over here with my, actually that's our real email address. That is our real address here at the office. So then the cursor moved into the ship to field where I could put a date in there. I could go like that, and then I could go like this, right? And I just set it to the 25th here. And all I did is I typed the letter T, which puts today's date in there. Then I hit the plus sign on the day field. I hit the plus sign on the month field, right? And that moved it forward to 9/19, right? So you can move around in the date field. And if you use the numeric keypad, the numeric down. Now, I think everybody knows that you can open the menu and go forward and backwards a month. Gosh, I hope so. And you could pick any day in here. You could also click on the month, and it'll give you a drop-down menu for the month and drop-down menu for the year. So you could go right to December if you wanted to. You know, I think we're good with the date, right? Ship method, if we want. Ship methods are defined in system preferences if you have a ship method. Anyway, pressing enter again, it should go down here to the items where we would then scan in the items that are being ordered, right? So basic requirement, I haven't stated this formally, but got to have a customer, got to have some items, right? You can't have a special order or a customer order or a layaway without both those elements. Got to have a customer, got to have some items. Kind of period on that point, all right? All right, so now I skipped over it, but I'm going to click back up here in customers and say that if you put in a partial search, that it will respond the same way as point of sale does. It will give you the intermediate search window. You can go directly to the list of customers. You can add a new customer from here. You can redirect your search to any field and retype it in and click lookup, right? Or you can even click on the little button here, the radial button in the box, and just drop right into the database, and you can add a new customer this way or do searching this way. But that's all pre-existing functionality that exists already on the receipt, right? Nothing's new there. If you're adding customers, you already know all that. If you haven't added customers before, then you probably need to look at some of that, right? Down here in the item box, we can scan a barcode. I hope that's what we're doing most of the time with most of our products, but on a special order, the reason that we're special ordering it may be that we don't have one to scan. Fair enough. So we can do one of two things. We can do a wildcard search, and or we could do a choose edit search, right? So both those, again, are existing functionality. They're not specific to the sales order. They're available in all documents, receipts, receiving vouchers, purchase orders, right? Doesn't matter. So here in the lookup field, using a wildcard, an asterisk, right? I could say asterisk. I could put in a phrase. I'm going to put a vowel and a consonant, and I'm going to put another asterisk. That means anything before or after the phrase that I typed in. Pressing enter, I find everything that has a letter A and a letter S next to each other, which ends up being probably a long list because that's a fairly generic search, right? Then I select one, and it puts it on there. The other option, of course, is to go to choose edit items on the sidebar menu, and that would take you out to inventory. And while you're in inventory, you can do any and all kinds of searches you want. You now have the full quick filter at the top. You have the full filtered view here button on the sidebar menu. So you've got amazing tools here to find things. You have the document quantity column where you could then select, I want 2 of these, and you've done another search and come down and say, I want 1 of those, and click OK, and it brings it all back, right? So we have an order. We have a customer. We have some dates on the top. You don't have to have dates, but you should have dates. If you're going to manage these downstream, you need to have dates. I mean, we always get the order date, right? But if you have a ship date and a cancel date, now the only real date here is the ship date, right? That's the delivery date, right? The day you took the order and the day we're going to cancel it, not terribly important, except to say an order should never be past cancel date, right? We should deliver it on or about the ship date, right? The delivery date, whatever you want to call it. So if you put all the dates in, even though we won't say print the cancel date on their order, then we would have the ability to filter for things past cancel and still active, right? And if something showed up, we'd say, what's going on with this? And then we could make some phone calls, talk to the vendor, call the customer, be the hero, instead of getting the weird phone call. Or you could just wait and get the weird phone call. All right, so let's click save. Now, it's saved automatically, and we haven't looked at preferences, but there are preference choices we could make, rules we could set up on how we are able to save this, i.e. whether it requires money or not. So mine right now does not require money, but we're going to put some money on it, right? So I think we got the types of sales orders, right? And we'll talk more about the types as we go, but we're going to take a look at taking a deposit here, right? Okay, so there's a button that says SO deposits. It's on the sidebar menu right here. I got it right here on my screen. It's in list view, right? So we could go right here and go to the SO deposit. I'm going to click SO deposit. It takes me to the SO deposit screen. Now that could have been automatic if I'd had the preference turned on that required money, and we can go turn that on and play with that. But I'm going to click new. It's going to say, okay, there's no requirement for a deposit based on your preferences. So I'm just going to throw the total 301.57 into that box, right? But how much do you want to take, right? So this is the first of two screens. This defines the amount of the deposit that we'll be taking. So if I'm going to take $50, okay, 40, right? Then I click the tender button, and then I say cash, and they gave me a $50 bill, 50, then I get $10 change, right? If they're giving you a 50, don't put a 50 in the first screen. Put the amount of the deposit in the first screen, and then put the amount they tendered, and it may result in an over tender, and you owe them $10 cash, right? That's pretty normal, by the way. Okay, so at this point, we could print update or update only. Most people update only. You can print update, and I don't even know if I have the right design, so let's just see what I got here. Let's see, I've got a bunch of junk in here. Didn't even think to go look for that. Okay, so let's try that right there and preview and see what the heck we get here, right? All right, so, all right. It's got a logo from one of our clients down in Florida on the Gulf Coast there, but obviously my heading fields are in my little virtual machine here. Let's zoom in on this a bit. Okay, so what are we looking at here? That's a good question, right? What is a deposit receipt? A deposit receipt is a receipt for the deposit. I mean, pretty straight up, right? Are there any items on a deposit receipt? No, there's no items, there's just money. We didn't give them any items, right? So this receipt that I've designed here, and this is something I did a long time ago, and if anybody needs this, just reach out to me. I think my email's on all the invitations because they use my account to set all these up. It's just jeffk@bighairydog.com. But all the fields here in the body of this receipt are coming from the sales order. You see right here, deposit balance, balance due, right? That's not a receipt thing. Those don't come from receipts, right? And in fact, we didn't sell any items. So all those fields except for the receipt number up here and the cashier probably are all coming from the sales order. So what I'm doing on this receipt design is I'm looking at the items that are still due and pulling them into the receipt design from the sales order, which is something RPro provided to us years ago. They gave us a node that looks into what's called back-ordered items. But it's handy because if we don't have this design, and it's pretty custom design, but if we don't have a design like this, what are we looking at? Okay, do you want to save this? No, I don't. We update only, right? We don't bother printing it. Then we have to go back to the order, and then we have to print the order from here, right? And this is a bike work order. Nice. Not really my first choice for showing you one, but there's a lot of work in this. This is not a bad design. It's just got some weird sorting on it. But here I can see the total balance, the deposit balance, and balance due, right? I could see the order, right? So either I take the deposit, skip the weird receipt print job and print it from here, or I have a custom design that allows me to sort of print the whole thing while I take the deposit, which I would recommend. I'm just going to say that make an appointment with myself or with Liz, and we could set you up with this through service. Call Big Hairy Dog Service, Paula or Mary over there. We'll get you set up with a time. And I have this. It's already created, right? So we just put your logo on it, put your return policy on it, maybe change a field here and there, and we're good. So, okay. All right. So let's talk about refunding a deposit. Okay. So here we are looking at our sales order. We go back to SO deposits. We can see now the deposit that we took in the past. There is a button on the top that says reverse. I'm just going to tell you don't use it. I'm just going to say flat out, don't use it. Just don't use it. Bad move. Inevitably, what happens is we take a deposit on the 1st, and it's now the 30th of the month, and we realize we can't deliver the product, and we're going to give them their deposit back. And then somebody ends up reversing it 30 days later, which screws up the tender rec for the 1st and the 30th. You follow? If you're going to give money, $40, right? Just give the money back, right? Then go to tender and select cash. That weird tender box thing is solved through security, but you can't be signed on as the admin, so I'm having to live it through it again. But anyway, so just type in the amount as a negative number, give back the amount you want to give back, right? That's it. Update only. And if we go back now, my deposit balance should be gone. Deposit balance 0. Everybody get that? Much easier, much easier. If you're giving back money, make a new transaction, make new history that says you gave back the money. Do not void the old one. With very few exceptions, I'm going to say 99.99% of the time, just make a new receipt and give the money back. It will save you pain and calling tech support. All right, generating from a receipt. That's the next thing on our little list here. Okay, let's go look at that. It's really an odd, eclectic little feature, but it's on the checklist. It is possible, and it has been useful in a couple of my installations. So, form view, and so let me just go ahead and say, let's just go like this. Let's go. All right, so there's a button, and I'm adding it formally as a big button. We'll just throw it down here in the bottom someplace, right? Most people probably don't put it as a button like I am, okay? Most people, if they add this to the screen, are probably adding it here on the sidebar menu. In the menu, you right-click, go to Menu Designer, go down to the G's, find Generate Sales Order, right? Double-click it, it goes to the right-hand side like that. Click OK, it's on the bottom, right? That's mostly, but I just wanted to make it really obvious here what's going on, right? So if we click New here, and my screen design is a little wacky. It was from a very popular national park. And so customers are not the priority at a national park. That's why they're down here at the bottom, kind of awkwardly in a weird spot. But if we go ahead and add a customer to our receipt, and we've got some other things turned on. So it looks like we've got, and we add items. Now, again, a sales order would require an item and a customer, right? Same requirement is going to be required here. If we don't have both those, we're going to get in trouble. But here we have, boom, an item, and we have a customer. So now I could click Generate Sales Order. And what do I want to do with the receipt? Hold it or discard it? I'm going to discard it. I don't think I want to come back to it. What kind do I want to do? We'll do a special order this time. So it's been created. Do you want to print it? I'm going to say cancel. I don't really want to print it. And it took me back to the receipt screen, right? So now if I back out of here and go over to sales orders, I should have a new sales order. It's a special order created today. Special order 819, my name on it. Nice. So let's go ahead and say form view. There it is. So if you get halfway through the process and realize you should have been making a special order, you can just say, okay, shove all this into a special order, then back out of there and go finish it, right? So now if I wanted to, I can go ahead and add that deposit, say take a deposit, and we're going to take a deposit for, see, it's $26.90, so 14 bucks, new, you know, you get to decide how much to take, right? Or you can take the whole amount. Tender, cash, okay, and print update. All right, so deposit balance 14, balance due 12.90, perfect, right? So escape. Do you want to save this? No, I don't. Thank you very much. All right, so I guess let's talk about how to finish a sales order. There's two methods. Now in my checklist here, my little outline, we've got the taking deposit, we've got the refunding a deposit, we generated a one from a receipt, great. Recording sales against sales orders. Yes, so here's your two methods right here. Right, so you can either record the sale from the sales order. That's kind of a layaway model. If you see where I'm going, the layaway, we have the product. We're not ordering the product for the customer. They give us some money, they give us some more money, they give us some more money, and we finally give them their item and record the sale, right? So that's the layaway sort of model. But it works pretty good, actually, and especially for like one item special orders. If you do a lot of single item special orders, you know, you pay the order off and record the sale, boom, done. It's very, very convenient. Referencing the sales order from the receipt, that's where we're on the receipt. We're going to pull the items from the sales order into the receipt. The advantage of that method is that you can partially invoice. Recording the sale is all or nothing. So if you're in any kind of scenario where your special order 5 items, 3 come in, the customer wants those 3, they're not going to wait to get the other 2 to pick them up, then you're definitely going with the second method there. You're going with the referencing the sales order number from the receipt, right? So let's take a look at both of them real quick and see what we think, you know. And again, if you guys have any questions, check in the chat box. Don't see much going on there. I hope you guys are not sleeping, you know. It is hot in the Western Hemisphere here in North America. Got to say we're pushing 100 today, and we got California wildfires going everywhere, and everything's covered with ash outside. It's not a pretty picture. 2020 just keeps giving us a ride, doesn't it? All right, so let's go ahead and grab that first special order, that first one we did, which is right here, the customer order, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say take a deposit, and I can see my history there. I'm going to say new. I'm going to take the whole $301 tender, and we're just going to say we took exact change today, and update only. We've seen the receipt a couple times. I think we're good there, right? So now this thing is paid up, ready to rock and roll. They come in, and maybe I just took the money or made the final deposit, or maybe they just came in and I found it. They could have a print job. That print job could have the sales order number on it. It could be in a barcode. I could scan it into here and find it. There are a lot of options there. Anyway, on the sidebar menu, it says record sale. I just click record sale. And sometime in our lifetime, it records the sale and shoots it to the screen. Nice. That's why it was hanging there. I had all my preferences set to automatically just generate that right to the screen. And that DocDesign has got some I've been hacking around with it. Let's just say it's got 2 column headers for the items. One's in use and one's not. So I have to apologize for that. But obviously, we can make this print any way you want, right? That's what that kind of comes down to. All right, so that's pretty easy. I mean, you click record sale, it spits the receipt out. You give the customer the stuff and the receipt, and you click inactivate the order, right? Clean your menu up as you go. Kind of beautiful, actually. Now, if you had to go back on that one, once you record the sale, the only way back out is to record the return, right? So let's go ahead and click record return, and it just returned everything for us. Thank you. And no, I don't want to save it. Thank you. And we're back to having a deposit balance just that fast, right? So that's record sale. It's all or nothing. You can record the sale, record the return. And I've had people who've made mistakes, record the sale, recorded the return, changed it, did it again, then changed it and did it again, and end up with like 6 or 8 receipts with record, return, right? All right, so let's take this sales order here, and let's go look at the other method, right? So the record sale button is pretty, I'm going to say that's pretty easy. If you can get away with using that one, I would. That's nice. So let's go to the receipt. And let's click new. I had to add the sales order number field. In the national parks, they don't make a lot of sales orders, so I had to go in here and add that on the top there to make this a little more functional, right? So if they had the special order and they came in to pick up 3 or 1 of the items or whatever, partial, right? And they had the document in their hand and I could scan the barcode, it would not unlike just having the number pop in there and go like that, right? So it just referenced the sales order, right? And you see in the bottom, above my funny little button I added here, my name has been added to. So now I don't see the items, right? But then normally when we're receiving, like against a purchase order, we don't see the items until we go get the items, right? We reference the PO and then we go to PO items and then we select what of those items is coming in, right? Same exact process. We reference the sales order. It puts our name on. We come over and we click SO items on the sidebar menu here, right? And the SO items lets us look at the items that are on that order. And there's only one there. All right, fine. So maybe I should have done the other one. Anyway, here I could click in here and I could type a 1, right? I could say I'm going to do this one, and on other ones I could leave them as 0, right? Or I could just click the do button here at the bottom, and clicking the do button, it would just take everything. Those are my choices, right? So I get to go in and cherry pick a few items, or just click the do button and it just takes everything. And nice. There are no do items. Okay, just click OK. I already got the one. All right, so it grabbed the item. I click tender, and I say, okay, this is a different plugin. This is unrelated completely. This is a loyalty thing that's turned on right now. And so we're going to click OK. And why did it not use the deposit? That doesn't make any sense. I think I know. Hang on a second. So let's just cancel this altogether. Let me just go check something real fast here. I recently had a tech call just like this. See if I'm right here. Right. So if you're going to be using deposits on the receipt, they have to be turned on. A lot of people don't turn the deposit on because if they're not doing special orders in the beginning, they just feel like no big deal. I would recommend always turning it on, by the way. You got to have it at least for a sale. Probably wouldn't hurt to have the other ones turned on too. You wouldn't use a deposit for a deposit, and you don't really need to count them. So don't want to mess with the rest of that. Click update, and see here, options. I think I want to try and turn that. I'm just going to flip the loyalty thing off real quick so we can stop messing with that. All right, so let's see if this works. I'm going to scan the top of the sales order. Boom. Go SO items. And I'm going to click do. And it's going to take the item and put it back on there. And I'm going to click tender. And it says, hey, do you want to use that deposit? I'm going to go with yes on that. It says, okay, there's $14. I say, okay. So I put the $14 in, right? And I decide how they're going to pay the rest, cash, whatever. And print and update my receipt, right? That's it. All right, so everybody good on that? Let me see, any questions? I don't see anything in the chat box. So I'm assuming we're all still there, on board, awake, not drooling too much, hopefully. All right, so okay, so let's go. Like it gives us preferences at the bottom. Let's do some preferences now, and swing around and look at reports in a minute here. I think it'll make more sense, right? So let's go back out of here and let's go to options, system preferences. System preferences. Let's go into local, point of sale, and sales orders, right? So sales orders has the three sort of nodes, really only one of them that's important here, but comments, we can predefine comments. I don't know what those would be, but you can predefine comments and instructions, have them in drop-down menus. Again, I'm just not sure what they would be. I have not had a lot of usage of that. All right, here on the main options area, okay, you've got your three main types: customer order, special order, layaway, right? And you've got the amount of the percentage that you want to require for a deposit, right? So there's different ways you can do this, right? So let's take customer order. Let's put 50 in there and say that it is required. And special order we'll leave on 0, and layaway is set to 50 already, but it's not required. That's fine too. I'd probably actually do it the other way. I'd probably go like that. In real life, for a layaway, you got to put good faith money down. I'm sorry. I'm not taking an item off the floor for a month or 2 or 3 or whatever without some cash to hold it, right? But sometimes in a customer order situation, I won't order it till you give me the money, but if I don't even know if I can get it, I don't know if I want to take your money, so I don't require it. You follow? And sometimes we want an open-ended thing. Anyway, below that we got record sale. So when do we have to record the sale? When do we take ownership of the receipt, consummate the sale, whatever you want to say, right? So most people use the allow record sale only after final deposit, after I have all the money, right? The other options is require record sale before I take the money, right? And the last one is allow record sale anytime. So most people don't call it a sale until they have all the money. Then they book it into sales. Now, I've had a few clients that aren't commission salespeople, and the commission salespeople get upset because they don't get paid their commission until it turns into a sale. They don't get to be a sale until they take all the money. But generally speaking, that's probably the best and most accurate way. The downside of that is it's in your inventory, so you have to check committed to see how many you have available at any given moment. But the committed function is really sweet, tells you right away. So I don't know, that's a big problem. But you have to count it if you take physical inventory, right? Pros and cons, right? If you're doing like a delivery, like I had a client who was delivering furniture, and he would take half down, and he would set his to allow any time, because what would happen is somebody would come in and buy a couch, they'd give him half down, he would get the couch, he would load the couch on the truck, he would record the sale, print the receipt, take that with the couch out to deliver the couch. He would deliver the couch and get the check for the last half of the deposit, right? Then he would come back after delivering it, post the check to the special order, which then zeroes it out because you've already made the receipt. You just got a little balance due that's left, and then inactivate it. Boom, done. So it's a pretty flexible process. Anyway, automatically record sale after final deposit. That's great for layaway. If you do a lot of layaways, or you do a lot of situations where you're taking that final deposit and done, and you just want it to record. If you do a lot of special orders where you require 100% down up front and you're not recording the sale, you have very bad choice, right? Automatically print when recording the sale. Yeah, I got that turned on. We saw that earlier. That worked well, right? When you click record sale, just do it, man. Print me a copy of the receipt so I can hand it to them. Yeah, allow lost sales. Nobody uses lost sales much anymore. Lost sales, a missed opportunity, could be used for analyzing what you should have bought instead of what you did buy, right? But it's a tricky thing to manage. Right, so prompt to print all our items due. So like in the scenario we talked about earlier where they ordered 5 items, potentially they came in and picked up 3, and we want to print them an updated copy of the order and their status. So let's say they had 5 items, they give us $100. We let them use 50 of that bucks, 50 of that deposit, half of it. So then we want to print them the remainder as an updated copy of the order. Like these 2 items are still out there and you still got $50 on them, right? Then you would want the option to print only due. You turn this on and you'd be able to, anyway. And then there's a print on save, print SO on save if you want. That's a nice little function. Here's your shipping options down here. You know, this is your back order message if you want to print back ordered items. So if they picked up 3 of 5 and I wanted to show on the receipt those 3 that they bought and the 2 that are still on order, this is the same trick that I did basically on a new order. All items are back ordered, right? Basically. So that's how I did it, by the way. I used this feature or the fields that are associated with this feature in the print job to print those items. But anyway, that's the rough layout. The order status, this function, I tried to play with this a long time ago. I'm just going to tell you, don't play with it. It was set up for a web interface that I'm not even sure ever got off the ground. So I'm not going to tell you to play with that. You can't see the field. You can't play with it. You can't do anything with this status field here. It would be cool, but no, you can't. All right, fine, excellent. Hopefully everybody's still awake. All right, so okay, so I am going to come back to our checklist here, and the first thing in that section is importance of. I'm just going to say that I've had a lot of people somehow either from not following up correctly or not understanding correctly, I don't know. They order the item, they take the deposit, they take 100%, the item comes in, they deliver the item, and they never record the sale. Okay, if you don't record the sale, then you never made the sale. You just got this liability on your books forever. Then they realize they made a mistake, and then like at the end of the year, they just record all the sales for the entire year, which completely blows their sales up for December, right? You just made the whole year's worth of special orders in one day, right? So then that blows your tax liability up, by the way, too. So you got to record the sales as you go. You got to make sales, and then once you make the sale, right, at some point you got to clean up your mess. So when you record the sale, the order itself is not going to vanish, right? So this one right here, 0 to balance due 0, deposit balance 0. I don't need this one anymore. Just click inactivate, right? Get it out of your active menu. You can choose to show an active and see it or not. You can always go back and find it should you need it. but you don't want to keep anything but active orders in your menu. That means that on a regular basis, somebody needs to be reviewing these orders, managing these orders, right? I mean, a nice trick to do is to come in to use the filtered view. And, okay, this filtered view is not an outstanding filtered view. What do we got here? Anything else in the other one? Nothing. All right, fine. So let's just go grab this. So right-click any filter, right? Right-click design, right? Ship date, cancel date, right? Minimum, right? So if I go in here and I say 010101, right, to T enter, show me anything that's past its ship date or today is the ship date, not tomorrow, right? So I could find everything that's past the ship date. And I could do the same thing in cancel, couldn't I? So I could quickly go out here and say, show me things that might be an issue, right? Then I could take a look at those. I could go to form view. I could see what's going on. I could call the vendor. I could talk to the salesperson. I could do whatever I need to do to get that order back on track. Or maybe it's on track and just want to update the customer that it's on its way. It'll be here next week, right? I don't know. The point is to be the hero, though, not the person getting the mad phone call from the customer, right? Manage your orders. Okay, so all right, so that's really deleting sales orders. Really, I kind of jumped ahead on that, didn't I? All right, so let's talk about reports, I guess, since that's one of our requirements here, right? So then I just launched reports. I launched it earlier. If you were in there early, you probably saw it. You know, probably in reports, journals is your biggest and most powerful ally here in the land of sales orders. You've got a deposit journal. You've got deposit journal with details, layaway journal, past due layaway journal, unfilled SO journal. So you've got like 5 different versions of reports that we can run on sales orders. We have a question. Wow, excellent. We use the sales order function for our online sales. Good. Yeah, that's actually very common. A lot of people use the sales order function for web orders. So web orders come in through your web interface. They get dropped in as a sales order, and then we can print those and go fill them and record the sale, right? So our website is integrated with RPro, yes, and comes across the sales order. However, if someone cancels, the only thing we can do is inactivate the sale, but then it puts that deposit on the customer's credit. Yes, that's true. Is there a way we can turn this function off? Well, the answer would be, well, no, I can't. No, I can't turn that function off. No. So you're doing 2 transactions in this one. Excellent question, by the way. You're either inactivating the sales order, right? And then you're going out and finding the store credit and deleting it, right? Now, if you looked at your receipt history, you would see both transactions. You'd see the transaction where when you deleted the sales order, it made a receipt that pushed the sales order deposit to the store credit. And then when you edited the store credit, it made another receipt that removed the store credit from the customer, right? I would probably just make one transaction. I would just go take the deposit off the sales order on a receipt. So, and then I would just inactivate the order, and then you got to go into your, you know, whatever your shopping cart, whatever you got, Magento or whatever platform you're on, right? And you got to issue the refund, right? So that might be a little cleaner though. So what does that mean in as far as steps, right? So if we go, let's get our little chat window out of the way. I don't know if you guys can even see that, but it's right in the middle of my screen, so I'm going to move it over. Let's see, what do we got here? All right, we got a deposit balance on this one here, right? So if I was going to take that deposit balance for that one off, right? Well, actually, I could do it a couple of ways, right? I could just go to the sales order and do a new one and give it back. That might be the easiest. Now, what you're going to need, though, so let's set this up correctly. You're going to need a way of not having it screw up your day as far as your tender rec. Because locally, you have to reconcile everything you take in. These come in from the web integration, and they say they were taken by credit card, but there's no receipt in RPro, right, that says that. So that's not popping up on your XE out per se, right? So what you'd want to do is you want to go into options, system preferences probably, and set up under point of sale, general, no tenders. Actually, yeah, nope. We're going to stay right there. We're going to start on receipts. So system preferences, local, point of sale, receipts, general. So right here you see that COD, which normally says, surprisingly, COD in that field, can be edited, right? I can change the name of COD. Now, if you're not already using COD, and I would say most people aren't already using COD unless they've done something like what we're doing right here, right? So you could change COD to be web, right? And then you could pop up to your tender requirements, and in tender requirements, find COD and turn it on, right? And then update that. So now, let's go try this, right? So let's just go to the sales order. And let's say that for a given order, that we're going to go to SO deposit, and we're going to say new deposit, and we're going to say give back the 100, right? And tender, and then now we're going to choose web, right? Because we don't want it to actually take $100 of cash out of the drawer, or credit cards or anything else that's real. We still need to reconcile the tenders we took today, right? So, and then of course we could modify the XE out print job, which it'll say COD, but we can go into the DocDesigner and change it to say web. But that would be one way. Now there's other tenders we could have used. We could have used like a traveler's check, for instance, and just take off the requirement to record the traveler's check number, right, in your preferences. So there's several tenders we could probably hijack for this purpose, right? I try to stay away from payments and charge because there's so many fields attached to those funny monies. But they're all funny money, right? Whether it be a traveler's check or a gift certificate or a you know, obviously you can't use gift certificate if you're using real gift certificates, right? You got to use one that's dead. But you could find one. There's always one that's not hanging around, that's not in use. Anyway. So now I've said on paper, hey, I took that off. It's a web thing, right? So now it's zeroed out, right? There's no deposit balance, so now I can activate it. So that's probably less steps because you delete it, then you have to go find it, then you have to go delete it, then you still got to go out and clear it on the back end of your shopping cart. But here you just find the sales order and you're about to delete it, right? Inactivate it, but you just go ahead and say give back the money first, buy this web bunny tender, then go ahead and delete it. I got to believe that's faster, hopefully, than what you're doing now. And thank you, by the way, for jumping in, Alyssa, and asking a question. I appreciate everybody who gets in and gets their fingers dirty and types in a little note. You know, I'm sure that was actually beneficial for everyone. All right, I guess we get back to work now, right? And we're having fun. I might have a weird understanding of fun. I don't know. Let's just run a report. Now, if we don't put a date range in, it runs wide open, right? Which can be a problem if you have a lot of them. And I don't know about you, but I can't see that. So let's blow it up a lot. See what we got here. Well, that's not quite that much, maybe. All right, so sales order number, type, name, order date, ship date, cancel date, order price, deposit balance, and balance due. Pretty straightforward for it, right? Not really rocket science. Just gives you at any given moment what your deposit balance is and your balance due, right? Man, that's a big balance due, man. I got some crazy data there, don't I? Yeah, I got $7 million out there. Let's go get that. All right, so right, so this is the next one is the same thing. So SO deposit journal with details is just going to reveal the items on every order, right? So it's going to be the same report, except that every order is now going to be a paragraph that contains the transaction and then the item detail underneath it, right? And they got crazy with color. I forgot about that. They do the transaction in blue, the items in gray, and then the details underneath it in white. Just make kind of a Christmas tree thing they got going there, right? I like their concept. Their execution is a little rough, I'm just going to say, but it works, right? I mean, if you want to find the answer, that gives it to you right there. You can see every detail about that transaction, and including all of the deposits and history trail, right, by receipt number. So, you know, I got to say that it does the job, right? Layaway journal. I don't even know if I have any layaways. I guess we'll find out, right? Well, we got one. Woohoo! Right. So this has got the quantity ordered and the quantity due, which means that they haven't been picked up yet, right? That's what it basically means. Past due layaways. Wow, look at that. That's actually pretty cool. Past due less than 30 days, less than 60 days, less than 90 days. Wow, over 90 days. That's actually pretty cool. I don't think I've looked at this report. They must have updated this. I don't remember it being this cool. And we don't have anything that qualifies into those columns, obviously. Oh, we got one, right? Yeah, we got one right there. Page 1 of 2, yeah. So there's the items on the second page, and there's the transaction stuff on the bottom of the first page. And they've got a cool little pie chart. They like to put pie charts and bar charts on there that don't always have a great deal of meaning behind them, but maybe if I had more orders, it might. Who knows, right? I do like what they've done, although I got to say, you know, if you're doing layaways and you're taking merchandise off the floor that could be sales for you, I gotta say, if it goes past the cancel date, I make an attempt. If the customer doesn't respond, I'm putting it back on the floor and canceling their layaway. I used to run a layaway department when I was a store manager back when I was in retail in a previous life, and we would make an attempt. Like if it canceled on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, we would let it roll till Monday. But Monday, if they hadn't answered the phone or come down and made arrangements, we were putting the stuff on the floor. I'm going to say we're getting it back out in sales and getting the money, right? So for it to be 90 days past cancel date is I'm going to say ridiculous. Unless they give you 100% deposit. At that point, it's theirs anyway, right? Now, this is not a webinar about report building, but know that in Crystal, I could take these different report models and I could modify them depending on what data is in the query, right? I could modify it to show in any form we wanted to, right? So this one here is about unfilled deposits or unfilled journals, excuse me. So what orders we have that are unfilled, right? So these are ordered but not sent, not delivered, not consummated. No receipt has been created for these. Any way you want to put that, right? These are all still pending. And I haven't really been filtering these at all. So let's go take a look at summaries real fast. There's not much, as I recall, in summaries. right? There's the SO committed merchandise, which is kind of a list of items that are on order, right? That's really what it is. And this one's been pretty flexible. I can play with this one, and I can make it group by department, which I think it's already doing, or by vendor. I could flip that around so you could see at a glance, you know, what's out there on order for that you need to deliver, right? You know, Retail Pro did not turn off wrapping, so the description one's wrapping all over the place, and they've not used their space well. But you know, they gave us the basic report model, and it can be modified by me. So I guess I'm not too upset about that. But I would clean this up and make it a lot easier to read, is what I would do. The fulfillment report is that's a weird beast. That's what that is, okay? The fulfillment report is meant to quickly return all the orders that you need to pull product for when you receive a large receiving from a vendor. So if I were to get, you know, product in from a given vendor, right, then before I put it away or on the floor, I would come here to a fulfillment report. I would go to the vendor field and I would filter for that vendor, which I have no idea if we got any good vendors in here or who I would even filter for with my little bit of data. I'm going to try that. It's an odd vendor that the person who did most of this creation of this data put in there. And there's a lot of items by that vendor. So what this will do, though, is it'll find every order that has that vendor on it and show you a copy of the order. See, so each of these pages is a different order, except the first one was a big order. It fell over in the second page, right? But the third page here now, that's a new order. So these could actually be printed, and the item could be pulled from the incoming load, and then the item could be set with the paper onto a shelf awaiting the customer to pick it up, right? So it's kind of like printing out all the pick slips for the items that have just come through the back door. You follow? It's a very handy report, very, very handy trick. I think that is it in reporting, isn't it? See, reporting, what do we got here? Journal summaries and fulfillment report, right? Well, the fulfillment report is a summary report. So, yeah, just going to say. All right, so deleting SOs we talked about, system preferences we have talked about, the multi-store SO environment is a tricky one. I think more so for us human beings than for the software. Software doesn't seem to have a big problem with it, but we human beings seem to get it screwed up somehow. All right, so on this, let's click new. Let's just make a new one here. All right, so we got an item on an order, right? Now you see right here, there's two fields called sell from and process at, right? So the sell from is the inventory that will be decremented, right? And the process at is the owner. It's who can process it, right? So if I'm a multi-store environment, nice, tiny paint. All right, so let's say that I have an office and at least two stores, right? So we've got the main office here, I'll just call it main, and we got store 1 and store 2, right? And a customer wants to special order an item, but they're going to be closer to store 2 when it arrives, and they want to pick it up there. So we would make a special order right in here, and we would change the process at. The process at field would have to equal 2. What that would do is it would cause the order to pull up to the main and then back down into store 2 and show up in their menus so they could actually fill it. So we would make the order, take the money, and then say, give this to store 2 by changing the process at to the other store. Does that make sense to everybody? So we just change that field there and we send it to whatever store needs to get that, right? Now, as well. And that would be basically to give them the sale, right? So now what if I leave the sell from, what if I give the process to them, but the sell from my store, then I will get credit for the sale, right? Because it came out of my inventory. But there may be some stock balancing involved. If it's shipped to them, right, then we may have to do a transfer from them to me to bring me from -1 back up to 0, right? That's where the issue always comes into. For me, customer service outweighs the other concerns probably. But I get it if you're a store and it's a big item and you want credit for the sale. I get that too. But, you know, we got to take care of the customer first. So, but that's what's going on. So whoever is the process at is in charge of that, must take the future deposits, inactivate the order when they're done, right? They're the owner of it, right? So what if the process at is store 2 and the main office goes in and inactivates it? Well, it's going to come back. Store 2 is going to push it back into their menu at the main, because store 2 is the owner. They're in charge of it. So it's going to pull back up from store 2 and repopulate. So if you're not the owner, don't be playing with it. Even now, other stores, that's not a problem, because as soon as they give it to store 2, it vanishes out of store 1's menus. It goes into archived, by the way. It goes into inactive records, and they could go research it and find it. But this is out of their main automatically. Right after the next polling cycle, it goes up to the main, and it vanishes out of their menu and goes into store 2's menu. But the main is omnipotent. The main is the main location, and they can kind of do what they want. But I've had people get in trouble, like if the timing is wrong, if they do something to it in a store and they do something at the main and it tries to pull both directions at once, sometimes you can lose them. So if you're not the process at, don't be playing with it. No touchy, even if you're the main. That makes sense to everybody. All right, so where does that leave us? Cancel. That's pretty much the whole checklist on my outline here. Are there any other questions with sales orders? Do we want to look at doc designs? Do we want to look at anything else that might help us here with this process, or do you guys have any questions that I could answer possibly? So let's go take a quick peek at that one doc design. I don't really want to go deep into doc design, but we could look at that one doc design that's actually pretty slick. So we're printing a sales order, but we're printing a sales order from the receipt, right? So it is a receipt design, not a sales order design, right? Probably better use that one. All right, so there's the one that we were looking at earlier, right? And man, that's small. I hope everybody can see it if I blow it up a little bit, right? So normal headings, normal receipt stuff at the top, right? Right, so the detail band, the item detail band is not pointed at the receipt, but the SO backordered items. See that? So that's how we do it right there, basically. Is we have a leg here. You see there's the SO backordered items, right there. And then above it, there's the SO fields. Right, so there's the, man, it's a long way up here, isn't it? There's the normal item section right there. So it's just a different branch in the doc designer, right? We just have to redirect the detail band to pull those items instead of the other ones. And then, of course, cancel this. All these items here inside it, like description 2, they have to be from the same band. SO backordered items dot E52, whatever the schema mapping name is there, right? But so you've got to pull the right items, and it's got to be, the band has to be looking in the right place. But that's really the trick right there, right? And the same thing down below here, that's coming from the SO section. That's coming from the SO section. But that's really all there is to that. So not overly complicated, not rocket science for sure. All right, so any last questions here? All right, so I don't see anything in the chat. So I am going to tell you guys, thank you very much for participating and coming and spending an hour with me on this hump day, beautiful Wednesday here, where we have some challenges. I hope everybody stays safe and healthy, and that everybody's got air conditioning, and that we're all doing well, and let's get through this year and get on to better days, more prosperous days for everyone. All right, thank you again. And I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting and tell you guys have a good rest of your day. All right, bye-bye.